Welcome to a fascinating and honestly pretty terrifying explainer, where we're diving into an alternate reality. We're looking at a scenario where human thoughts suddenly become completely audible to everyone around us. I'm thrilled to guide you through this because today we're exploring a concept that fundamentally shatters everything we know about human connection, society, and our own minds. We aren't talking about your text messages or your search history getting leaked here. We are talking about the end of silence itself. Seriously, I want you to take a second and really think about this. What if your thoughts were no longer private? Imagine walking into a crowded room and instantly knowing exactly what every single person in there truly thinks about you. And, equally terrifying, they know exactly what you think about them. Every insecurity, every hidden attraction, every petty annoyance you have, instantly broadcasted out loud. Would humanity become more honest, or would society just completely collapse? We are talking about a world of absolute, unavoidable transparency. Zero filters, no hiding, no silence left inside your own mind. As we go through this explainer, we're going to see exactly how this terrifying premise plays out, starting from the very first moments of mass confusion, all the way to the complete, total restructuring of human civilization. Section 1. The Day Silence Died. The First Moments of an Open Mind Reality. Okay, picture this. It starts off really small. Imagine a woman sitting on a packed train during her morning commute. Suddenly, she hears a voice, clear as day, sigh and say, "I hate this job." She looks around, completely confused because absolutely nobody has spoken a word. Everyone's mouths are closed. But that voice, it was unmistakable. Then, out of nowhere, she hears another disembodied thought from some stranger across the aisle. "Why is everyone staring at me?" And right there, a creeping, very real panic begins to set in across that train car. And simultaneously, this is happening across the entire world. People are suddenly hearing the raw, completely unfiltered thoughts of the strangers standing right next to them. At first, obviously, everyone thinks they're just losing their minds, right? They think it's some mass hallucination or a sudden onset of madness. But the terrifying truth quickly becomes undeniable. Human thoughts are no longer a secret. The protective barrier between our internal minds and the external world has just completely vanished. Section 2. The Collapse of Relationships, when fake kindness falls apart. You know that massive gap between what we say and what we actually feel? It's exposed overnight. A husband might put on a brave face and smile at his wife, but she immediately hears his raw, unspoken thought, "I'm unhappy." A friend might tell you out loud that everything is completely fine, but you hear their actual, unfiltered jealousy echoing right in your head. Secrets disappear in an instant, and the polite, fake kindness we all rely on, it completely collapses. People stop trusting smiles because now thoughts reveal the brutal truth. Here's the wild part. Marriages and lifelong friendships shatter, but not necessarily because people suddenly turned evil. They shatter because our hidden realities became entirely visible. You see, humans survive partly through illusion. We rely on these tiny little lies, unspoken thoughts, and emotional filters just to navigate daily life. Without those filters, every single interaction turns into a psychological minefield. Section 3. The Fall of Power. Transparency brings chaos, not peace. Scale this up to the top level. Think about politicians stepping up to a podium to speak publicly, trying to calm the panicked masses. But as they deliver these carefully crafted, empathetic speeches, citizens are hearing their actual cynical intentions underneath it all. We don't actually care. Absolute chaos erupts globally. Institutional corruption and manipulation suddenly become mathematically impossible to hide. And the whole thing snowballs incredibly fast. Check out this timeline. Day 1 is just sheer widespread confusion. By week 1, interpersonal secrets have basically ended, tearing families apart. By month 1, entire governments are falling because public trust has evaporated. And by year 1, humanity is driven into total, desperate isolation. We learn very, very quickly that the human brain was simply never meant to hear every thought. Section 4. The Era of Isolation. The Psychological Breakdown of Humanity. Because human thoughts are so raw, and let's be honest, pretty cruel sometimes, just interacting becomes physically dangerous. Bustling cities become eerie and quiet. Crowds completely disappear overnight. People start actively fleeing from each other, realizing that physical distance is literally the only way to escape the deafening noise of other people's minds. Headphones don't work anymore because these thoughts aren't traveling through your ears. They're manifesting directly in your head. Schools shut down, offices collapse, humanity slowly, deliberately unplugs from itself. For the first time ever, we fear each other's minds far more than physical weapons. And the human brain, it just starts completely caving under the pressure of this reality. Imagine trying to simply buy groceries while thousands of intense, unfiltered thoughts are slamming into your consciousness all at once. Fear, anger, sadness, dark desires, deep regret. The noise becomes unbearable. People literally lose the ability to sleep. Anxiety blankets the globe like a heavy, suffocating static. Let's break down the weight of those specific emotions for a second. First up, fear. The psychological tension gets ratcheted up to an 11 because the noise of constant, uncontrolled paranoia becomes absolutely paralyzing. You aren't just feeling your own fear anymore. You are absorbing the primal panics and worst-case scenario anxieties of every single person within your radius. And then there's anger. It's just a constant, inescapable, distorted wave of unspoken rage and petty grievances echoing all around you. Every slight, every frustration, every dark, violent impulse that someone usually manages to suppress is now broadcasted out loud for everyone to endure. It drives a lot of people completely out of their sanity. But honestly, the absolute heaviest burden is regret. The overwhelming, crushing weight of humanity's collective sorrow proves without a shadow of a doubt that the mind was never designed to stay open forever. The psychological toll of hearing everyone's deepest, most tragic sorrows all day long is just catastrophic. So the real takeaway we get from this massive psychological breakdown is perfectly captured right here. We realize that privacy was never just about comfort. It was literally our protection. It was the vital, necessary psychological shield that allowed us to function as a society without completely tearing each other apart. Section 5. A new kind of humanity. Evolution through brutal honesty. So how does this whole explainer actually resolve? Do we just go extinct? No. Slowly, painfully, out of the ashes, humanity is forced to evolve. People have to learn extreme mental discipline, literally training themselves day and night to not think harmful thoughts. They develop a hyper-vigilant emotional awareness. Children are raised in a totally different paradigm, where honesty isn't just a polite moral choice, it's a physical, undeniable reality. They have to learn how to exist totally transparently from the day they're born. Eventually, we reach a bizarre new equilibrium. Society gets a lot quieter, sure, but it gets overwhelmingly real. People simply stop pretending. And what's super fascinating is that they don't do this out of some newfound, enlightened sense of morality. They stop pretending because faking it just doesn't work anymore in a transparent world. The whole social game of deception, it's permanently over. As we wrap this up, I want to flip this back onto you. Seriously, ask yourself right now, if everyone around you could hear your thoughts, every single dark, strange, or unfiltered one of them, would people still love you? Would they still trust you? Or would they be absolutely terrified of the real you? It leaves you feeling kind of hollow, doesn't it? Because maybe keeping our dark, complex, and chaotic thoughts to ourselves isn't actually about being deceptive at all. Maybe it's the ultimate act of mercy. It proves that some things were simply never meant to leave the mind. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the reality around you, and I'll see you next time.